Someone was coming. All of a sudden I heard the snapping of twigs nearby. Branches were thrust to one side, then swung back as someone forced their way through the forest. Fast feet bolted through the surrounding woodland. They were heading straight for us. We ran, pushed our way through a tangle of dry branches and bushes that whipped our faces, into a bog, giving no thought to where we were stepping. We were quickly soaked, but continued onward, our socks and shoes slurping and gurgling, up onto a hill covered in heather, past a few more prickly bushes, over a rocky knoll, and down yet another hill. I tripped over a stone and dragged Alva down with me as I fell. We tumbled together, rolling downhill, heather and twigs in our faces and mouths. But there was no time to lie there, no time to figure out if we'd hurt ourselves. Even Alva knew that. We were back up on our feet without a moment's hesitation. We had to keep running, as fast as we could, as far as we could. But eventually we could run no further. Fear alone can only propel a body so far. A body needs food and rest. We were tired, so very, very tired. Alva was so small. "We need to hide," I whispered. We found a rocky slope covered in moss and thick brambles. I squeezed myself backward in between two large rocks, carefully pulling Alva in after me. The brambles were like tangled barbed wire. They snagged our clothing and scratched our bare skin. The space between the rocks was so narrow I could hardly breathe. Alva sat on top of me, and I could feel her pulse throbbing like the pendulum of an old clock. Something stepped out into the clearing. It stood there, just across the bog. Alva whimpered softly, and I placed a hand over her mouth, the other over my own. The fear was like an enormous black bird within me. It beat its wings in panic, but still I made no sound. We heard it moving through the bog, gurgling sighs from the holes each step left. We heard wheezing from an open jaw filled with long, sharp teeth. It came closer and closer, stopped just by the rocky slope. In the moonlight, I could see the beast's legs between the stones and brambles. They were long and covered in sleek black fur. Its hooves were hidden in the grass. Hanging by its sides were two long arms with slender hands and thick claws that curled inward in the shape of a spiral. When they get angry, their claws unfurl, transforming into long, razor-sharp swords. I'd seen it with my own eyes when they killed Mom.